or anything like that? Any progress with him in terms? I know he's standing on the court.
No, it's just because he's standing around. He's a pseudo assistant coach for us right now. Yeah.
Curious with the fifth guy that you've been looking for. Has Josh been that guy so far in the pickup game?
Yeah, we haven't really had 5 set guys out there. We've looked at a lot of different combinations. The Dev, Brad, and Book were all on different teams today. Still looking at a lot of combinations.
What are you now that you know the roster completely? What are you looking for in that fifth guy? Starters, Nurkic,
I mean, whichever guy we have in there, we want them to play to their skill set. If they're a defender, we want to go out there and play well being that defender. If we want to put an extra shooter, play to your strengths.
Bill was talking the other day about how himself with him and KD and Book kind of stepping on each other, trying not to step on each other's toes. I think it's going to go before. What do you find helpful in terms of guys feeling more comfortable working with each other and other spots?
Yeah, you just have to have a feel for it, really. I mean, if one guy's getting utilized on a certain day, you circle back and you overdo it the next day. And you just keep everybody rotating in terms of making sure they're all being used at the right level and feeling good about how things are going.
Brad, I know he's excited about this opportunity in particular. I feel like maybe things are all sleeping on him as everybody talks about both.
They may be, but I'm not. I'm not sleeping on the value that he brings to the table. I know that. They want to sleep on Bradley Beal. They can do that at their own risks.
Coach, there's a narrative that some that Book isn't as much of a willing defender as he is on offense. What have you learned about him on defense and how he competes so far?
Anybody would say that didn't see practice today. He and KD were our best defenders today. Those guys really got after it. Brad did too. But those guys are really defending with passion right now. They're buying into the system and the scheme that we're putting in, and really putting in a lot of effort and focus onto executing the coverages, but just having a mentality on that side of the ball. They're competing to get stops.
What kind of tone does that set when your top guys are in setting that?
It's everything. It's everything. It's necessary, because if they set that tone with their leadership, that's their form of leading, right? And they set that tone with the leadership. Everybody else has a higher standard, and then the group plays at a higher level.
Coach, given what Yuta showed last year and how well he shot the ball, were you surprised you guys were able to get him in the summer?
Yeah, a little bit. You never know what guys' the value is going to be in the open market, but to be able to get him to come here and complement the guys that we have as a 44% three-point shooter that can make plays off the bounce and guard. He's a hell of a pickup for us, and it's going to be a big factor for us.
He and Devin showed a lot of chemistry together in a certain amount of time. Is that something as a coach you kind of notice right away when two players have that chemistry?
Yeah, you definitely see it out there, and he's got chemistry with Book as well. The Book knows to find him. Every time he's got the ball, he's got an antenna of where Yuta is. So if there's any kind of overhelp, we're looking for him.
Coach, if I would talk about load management, how do you determine the minutes as far as a player like KD for a couple of years? You do that now, or is that a process throughout the year, earlier in the season?
Yeah, constant conversations. I know the idea of what I would like to do with these guys in their minutes. But you just have to have a common sense approach to it. You don't want to overdo it over an 82-game marathon. But those guys are horses, man. They want to be in there, and we want them out there. So we'll be smart with it though.
It's like a delicate dance, considering you need to be healthy and strong heading into the playoffs.
Right, but we got to build habits too. We got to build habits, and we got to learn to win with one another. You guys have all won at different levels in their own spots, but we all haven't, including the coaching staff. But we all haven't done it together. So it's going to be an important 82-game season for us, 82-game regular season for us.
Day 3, but are you happy with the progress we're seeing? Everyone acclimating to your coaching style. You learning them as well?
Yeah, I feel like that symmetry is off to a really great start. I feel like the guys, we're always enjoying some banter. When it's time for banter, and being serious when it's time to be serious. And there's intelligent questions. About the things we're doing, and make sure that we're understanding things with clarity. And the energy has been just off the charts the first 3 days.
a lot of these guys are the new, but including yourself. But are you talking to some of the younger guys like Bull or Udoka or maybe even guys like Saban, to separate them from some of the guys who have been in this league long?
Yeah, but we talk to just like any young players, we're gonna talk to those guys a little bit more. We don't have any true rookies on this team, which the head coach doesn't hate that. We like having vets on our team, and but those guys have been sponges, for picking things up.
Curious, Coach Smith, you got 17 guys, got to get that number down to 15. What are you looking for in terms of the process of, because somebody's got to go. So how is it going to?
Yeah, it's just the standard. Whoever's playing at the highest level, and they're going to earn those jobs. So it's just it's healthy competition. We believe in all of those guys. I wish we could keep everyone. Because everybody we have in uniform right now, I know could contribute for us. So that's a good problem, and make those decisions when the time comes.
How have you handled that in the past if you've been in that situation before?
Yeah, Prince, case by case. There's times where we'll tell 2 or 3 guys like, hey, we got one spot. It's going to be up to you 3 guys, and go compete for it. And sometimes it's more about do we need more shooters? Do we need more defenders? It's not always about winning the job, but what skill set fits the roster the best. So all of that factors in.
James Jones.
I don't think I had ever met him. If I did, it was brief. But obviously competing against him in those series is with the Miami Heat, Pacer Seed series. You know who he is as a player. He was actually a Pacer prior to me becoming a Pacer. So some of my coaches that I worked with in Indiana had a relationship with him. Fizz had a relationship with him. Braun had a relationship with him. So knew him indirectly, but didn't really know him that well directly.
How's it been just working with him?
Champs the man. He's great to work with. You guys have been around for a few years. You know what kind of guy he is. He's very straightforward, very intelligent, really committed to his craft, in terms of studying leadership and roster building and management, all those types of things. He's one of this organization's greatest assets, honestly.
What's been the dialogue with Nurkic early on defensively?
With Nurk, just execute our scheme. We're teaching him our scheme, and obviously utilize his passing, utilize his defensive rebounding, maximize his speed. The running game is a habit, more so than actual physical speed. And execute what we're asking him to do.
Coach, there's an announcement today that Matt Ishbia is funding $100 million plus investment for headquarters for the team. I know you talked about his passion, but what is your relationship been like with him, and what is he doing just mean for the city?
Yeah, everything he's doing is just it's making the Phoenix Suns the gold standard of the NBA. It really is, and I believe over the next 20 years, this is going to be the destination in the NBA where players are going to want to play, coaches are going to want to coach. We're doing things in a first class way here. And everything he said it this summer in Vegas is we're going to win at everything we do, and he continues to back up his words with action.
Coach, you earlier talked about your Pacer days. How has your approach to training camp changed since then?
Very different. Well, for one, I was working for Larry Bird, so there was going to be a high standard of running these guys into the ground. There was the conditioning piece was always very, very important with Larry, and because of that, I feel like my training camps are probably still more aggressive than most around the league, because I believe in those lessons that I learned from Larry. But the game's changed over the last, I think it's 12 years since I've been a head coach, and it's just gotten more intelligent in terms of managing our NBA players' bodies. So definitely lighter than before.
Coach, are you keeping up with the Diamondbacks in the playoffs at all right now?
Love it. I met Torrey this summer, and I've become a big fan of his approach and him as a person, and I could not be more happy for him. Loved his post-game speech, just loved his post-game speech. It was awesome, an awesome moment, and bring on the Dodgers. Let's go Diamondbacks.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you guys. Yep.
All is well.
Curious, just your early impressions of camp.
you like to get bumped in, as you say. And
Yeah.
you guys have done an abundance of that. So, what's your thoughts on how it's going so far?
It's been really competitive, high level. Like you said, a lot of scrimmaging, a lot of up and down. We have 15 players, so you can actually go 5-on-5-on-5. And that's how Coach has been dividing it up and switching up lineups, and it's been fun.
Curious with Coach was just saying that the two best defenders today were yourself and Kevin. Just maybe how much are you taking on that ownership of I have a defensive-minded coach, and to show you, even though I'm the guy on this team, that I can do that at a high level.
If you don't know that by now, man, you're late. You know what I'm saying? I think we're over that perception where, I don't get after it on that end because, it's important, playoff basketball. If you can't do it, you have to be off the court. And, we've stressed that and we've done it at a high level.
Curious with also Ishmael came out obviously $100 million plus investment on offices for the Suns, and Mercury, and a practice facility for the Mercury. When you see him continually doing these kind of things, what does that say to you about him as a whole?
I mean, he wants to win and do whatever it takes. And he understands culture and environment is important in that. And, he's stressing that, and, his actions are backing up his words.
But there's a saying that goes, there are not enough basketballs on the court. You guys got 3 top scorers. What does Bill bring to the equation as far as spacing, which will allow you guys to be a little more free-flowing in your offense?
Just a super threat. Gravity is important. He causes a lot of attention. If you've watched him play, you can't guard him with one person. And it's playing off him. That's all you want, a guy that causes gravity and open up, force people into rotations and get you open shots. And, I think everybody on this team has the capability of doing that.
Coach mentioned that maybe Larry Bird's to blame for having a little harder training camps from him. How does his training camps compare to the ones you've had in the past?
This is a training camp right here. This is definitely a training camp. We feel our legs, they're heavy, they're tired, they're sore, and that's how it's supposed to be at this time of year.
What did you accomplish in the first game? How much would you like to get out there?
We're back in Michigan. I always enjoy being in Pierre, Michigan, around my family and friends. So, have a good time with it. Meet up with Matt and his company, and all the guys that keep his business running and show respect and love to them. So, be fun.
Obviously, you'll get an opportunity to see Coach Williams, and maybe just speak to what he meant to you and what it'll mean to see him in a different space with the Pistons.
Yeah, I mean, I could be here all day, talking about Coach Mott and what he's done for me as a person and what he's done for my career. In a search of stability, through my career, I finally found it, and Coach Mott did things and changed the culture around here like no one ever has. So big respect to Mott. I can't wait to see the guys, Jay Jack, everybody I've been around. So yeah, it's gonna MB. So all them guys, it's gonna be fun.
What have you seen from Nurkic these first few days?
He's a beast. He can play make. His IQ for a big is off the charts. And he talks. He communicates with you. He tells you what he sees, what he thinks, and everything's collaborative. And somebody that knows the game like that, knows rotations, knows how to play. I listen to him and I try to implement it.
If you look at the Western Conference, this has to be one of the more competitive Western Conferences in years. How do you see this team stacking up against the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Kings, and Memphis?
I mean, we're just going to go play hard. We don't really measure ourselves against anybody. Obviously, Denver's the reigning champ, so everybody in the NBA should be, chasing them. Outside of that, we're focused on ourselves. If we do that, it'll put us in a good position.
Keeping up with the Diamondbacks playoff run right now?
Yeah, I seen that. I need to catch a game. When's the next one? Who they got? Dodgers?
Saturday.
Dodgers next Saturday? Well, we're out of town, but I would have been in there. Is it home? The first one?
They're in LA, Saturday, Monday, home Wednesday, Thursday.
Hopefully I can catch one. Hopefully it lines up.
How do you feel about Grayson coming over here, playing and packing up you at the 2 spot? Played against him for several years now, but obviously there's the reputation there. Now that he's on your side, what do you see that he brings to the table
compared to years past?
He plays hard. You know, Grayson's high school class of 2014, so, you know, I've known him since I was 15, 16 years old, and, you know, to watch his game grow and continue to grow, you know, it's very impressive, especially when you get to watch it from high school, how long we've been at it, you know, because there's a lot of guys at the top, and you slowly watch people fall out, and not even make it through college or to the NBA, and he's just continued to get better and better and, you know, be a super threat on the court.
When Nurk was talking about his role in the screen setting earlier, he said, "I leave the defender one option; they can go under." Can you confirm that with the way that he opens up space?
Yeah, he does.
What does that do?
Getting a lot
Can you
of-
describe what it does for ball handlers?
I mean, it puts the other big in a tough situation because, you know, it allows me to go downhill at him. And if he's back too far, coaches, you know, stressing us to rise right up and forcing bigs to have to be away from the basket. You know, we have a lot of threats on the perimeter and, you know, kind of try to space the floor out, get good looks.
Eric was telling us you called him a point guard the other day.
Yeah.
What have you seen from his? You mentioned his IQ, but his passing ability as well.
Yeah, I mean, those go hand in hand. You know, he can read a play before it develops. You know, if he can be the secondary point guard too, if a team traps me and he plays in that pocket, you know, it's a clean exchange. He catches it, it's right to the corner, or he punishes a smaller defender under the hoop.
James Jones was saying on Media Day that he doesn't try to win the press conference or anything. He's just about winning. How is he around you guys? Does he talk about winning championships with the Heat? Does he keep his distance? What is that like?
I mean, he keeps his distance. I mean, we have a lot of respect. I've known about JJ for a long time. He's been around championship pedigree, and, you know, it's definitely an open dialogue. But, you know, during practice, he's not going to be around. He'll be on the side just staying locked in. But it's an open dialogue between us.
Thanks, Book.
Thanks,
Book.
Book.
Grayson, when you look at the different combinations that's been put out there during camp, you're like, wow, we have a lot of options here, and how are you trying to make your mark in that?
Yeah, we got a lot of guys, you know, of those three guys, two who are really good scorers, they're also just like good basketball players. They make good plays. The ball is moving well. They're driving and kicking really well. So when the ball's flowing like that, it's kind of easy for me to fill in, drive and kick with them, get open shots. It's been pretty seamless so far.
Devin was talking about, you said you both were in the class of 2014 high school,
Yeah.
so he's knowing you back then. What's your memories of him from back then as players?
I just remember like we were all the same camps and stuff at high school. We were both guards, so pretty much all the camps we went to, anything we were matched up. So we had, I guess it's 9 years ago now, had a lot of good battles.
How did those go? How would you assess those battles?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a great memory of them, but I'm going to go ahead and say I won them all.
What does it mean when you see Booker, KD leading the way on defense too?
Yeah, I mean, both those guys are really good defenders, and a lot of people think that guys that are good scorers and carry a heavy load offensively don't really defend, but KD's a great defender. He defends 5 positions. Book is a really good on-ball defender. He's tough to screen because he's pretty strong. And he's got very good hands. So those guys are both good defenders, but they also have that mental focus on that side too. They're not taking plays off.
How are you acclimating in Phoenix so far? Because obviously there's the on-the-court stuff, but there's also, moving to a different city right before the start of the season, bringing family and all that.
Yeah, this is my 3rd time getting traded, but this one has been the closest to the season. Like, there has been no adjustment period for me, so from that aspect, it's still a little bit of a whirlwind. Like, it still feels weird that I'm in Phoenix right now. I'm not really settled in, like, don't have a place yet, so don't have my stuff. I'm living out of a suitcase, so I'm trying to figure all that stuff out while coming in here and figuring out the basketball stuff. So basketball stuff's been a lot easier than living.
What's that like when you have, a wife and you're still adjusting to life out of a suitcase, and still the season is very long, just the start of it. What is that like being a married man trying to adjust and having a wife
across the country dealing with that?
Yeah, it makes it tough. Like I think for most NBA players, I think like your home environment becomes really important to you because everything, like at least for me, like it's been very unstable outside of like basketball. Like you're always on the road. Like I've changed cities 4 times now. I've changed places that I'm living 5 or 6 times now. So like the one stable thing is the people that you have around you. And so it makes it a lot easier, like for me as a married guy, to come home and have that consistency, that support group that's always there, no matter if I just had the worst day in the gym possible or if I killed it today. So that makes it a lot easier. So when they get here, when they get settled in, that'll make it a lot easier. But until then, I'm missing them right now. It's a little tough.
Yeah, I asked that question because of the viral letter that Drew Holiday's wife ex sent out. And
Yeah.
he was a teammate of yours, obviously, for the past 2 years. So.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it really tough on families. I know it's part of our job. Like, we get paid a lot of money, and we get to go to great cities and play basketball. It's awesome. But the people in our family, they just have to pick up and come with us, and that's extremely tough for them. Like, when we come to Phoenix, when we come to a new city, we automatically have people from day one that are friends. Like, all my teammates become people I hang out with, I see. But for your family, for your wife, whoever it is, for your kids that are going to different schools, like, they don't have that from day one. So it's tougher for them to integrate in, find new friends, find stuff that they do, schools for kids, all that is extremely tough. So I don't have any kids yet, so I imagine that makes it even tougher. So I definitely feel for Lauren and Drew on that.
What has the mental journey been for you, coming from a championship team like the Bucks, although they didn't win last year? You come here to Phoenix, you're somewhat of a hired gun, so to speak, as far as being a shooter, and well needed for a team like this from three-point land. What has it been like for you making that transition and coming here with so much expectations for this team to win a championship this year?
Yeah, it's very interesting because I already had, like, even before I got traded, like the championship pressure and expectations were already felt that just from a different place. So now it's really just the same thing but in a different city. And it's a different route to the championship, right? Like when I'm in Milwaukee, we're looking at the Eastern Conference teams, and now I'm coming over here, we gotta focus on the Western Conference teams. So the expectations and the outside pressure still feels pretty much the same.
More than anything, you compete against KD for 5 years. Is there anything you learned at being his teammate now that maybe you may not have realized?
Not really, no. Like, he's a guy I already thought pretty highly of, so getting in the gym with him, it doesn't really change. My first NBA game or NBA regular season game when I was in Utah opening night, we played against the Warriors when KD was there. So that was the first time I was kind of watching him play and compete, and from then on, like, I always saw him as one of the best players in the league, if not the best for a couple years, and the best scorer in the league. And but also, like, competing, the way he competes on both ends as a guy who's you're relying on for 30 points is very impressive. And so his leadership in practice is very consistent with what I already thought.
How are your legs after the first couple days of camp here?
I'm tired. Yeah, I'm tired. But it'll get better. This is good. You know, I was already playing a bunch of pickup in Milwaukee leading up to this, so I felt like I was a good bit ready.
You talked about being a driver earlier in your career with all the shooters and scoring options and gravity out there. Have you noticed driving lanes might open up? Or I know you guys have a lot of length out there also, so maybe that takes a while.
Yeah, no, I mean, it just puts, when I'm off the ball, it just puts that guy in a tougher spot because they're going to be in their actions, pick and roll, DHO, splits, whatever it is. Like, they're going to put a lot of position. So a lot of times my guy is going to be in a closeout scenario. So when you have a guy flying at you, either trying to run you off the line or closing out short, preventing the drive, the options are pretty easy there. So when someone's flying and running me off the line, it makes it a lot easier to put it on the floor and make a decision from there, either getting all the way or finding someone else.
When you look back to your rookie year, how would you compare your mindset going into that training camp compared to this one?
It's like I had no idea what to expect my rookie year. I was like extremely nervous. I had no idea like what the NBA game was like, what to expect. I felt like I was the young guy on the team, and yeah, it was just very overwhelming almost. And now coming here, there was still a little bit of that. Like I didn't know what to expect being on a new team. There was still some nervousness or anxiousness first day in the gym with everybody. Being the start of training camp, like I didn't get any easing into it, playing pickup or practice or any type of summer workouts or anything. So, but I'm in a point now, like year 6, where I kind of know how I can contribute to a team, how I can help, and so I have a lot of confidence and kind of security in my ability and what I can do to help the team. So from that spot, it makes it a little bit easier to come into a gym and just fit in. Yeah.
Thanks, Grayson.